In a year where there really has not been a quarterback to pull themselves away when it comes to being the top prospect for the NFL draft, there's been one player who has been flying under the radar. Now he is finally starting to get some recognition not just as an NFL prospect, but as a possible Pitt legend. The player I am talking about is Pittsburgh's quarterback Kenny Pickett. But who is Kenny Pickett? Kenneth Shane Pickett was born on June 6, 1998, and is the son of Ken Pickett, who was an All-American linebacker at Pittsburgh University and is in their Athletic Hall of Fame. His mother, Casey, played soccer at Kutztown University, and his sister played soccer at East Stroudsburg University. I want to pause for a second to mention that this video is a little special for me to make because Kenny Pickett is actually from the same area I am from. He played in the same conference, the short conference that I played in high school, and I have some friends who actually sacked Kenny in a high school game, which I found funny when I mentioned I was making this video. This is your shout out, Paul. Growing up, Kenny tried soccer, but found he played a little too physical, so he stopped playing pretty quickly due to running too many people over, according to Tribe Live. Instead, Kenny would play football, basketball, and baseball. Anthony Tedesco, one of Kenny's childhood friends, told ESPN that they were either down at the Jersey Shore or playing football, going on to say, Kenny was the most competitive kid out there, whether we were playing mini golf or football. If we had 1 yard to get for a first down, he was going to do anything he can to get it. He was one of the toughest kids, but also one of the most selfless. He knew he was going places. Pickett spoke on his height, saying, I was the smallest kid growing up. I had a growth spurt late. You can ask anyone back home I've played with. I've always been the shooter and wasn't much of a dunker, but now I can throw down some dunks. He gave up playing basketball in 8th grade, but continued playing baseball and football. In baseball, he would start his career as a pitcher, but moved to left field once he started throwing, for coaches saying he'd work out for schools in the spring, and you can't go pitch a game after a workout. I just stayed in left field. Kenny attended Ocean Township High School, where he would go on to be a multi-year starter. He could have transferred to a private school, but his father told ESPN he had played Pop Warner with most of those kids since he was 6. There were other schools who wanted to come play for them, more prominent schools maybe, but Kenny didn't want to go anywhere else. I remember him saying, you know what, I want to stay with these kids I've been playing with my whole life. That's what was most important to him, friendships that will last a lifetime. As a junior, Pickett threw for 1,796 yards and 19 touchdowns, while also rushing for 336 yards and 5 touchdowns. He led Ocean Township to a 9-2 record and to the semifinals of the Central Group 3 playoffs. Going to his senior year, Ocean no longer had Tyler Thompson, who had 4,866 career yards and 52 touchdowns. Kenny's high school coach spoke on the situation, saying, it's definitely fair to say that Kenny will have to shoulder more of the offensive burden. Kenny came up having a lot of success throughout the youth levels. He's had a lot of success at the high school level, and coming into his senior year, he's prepared to carry a load, so we will put a lot on him, and we feel confident that he's going to be able to rise to the challenge. Pickett did not feel the pressure, telling Asbury Park Press, I don't look at it like I have to do a lot more or have more pressure on me. We do have a lot of athletes where I can spread the ball around. So really, it's just up to me to get these guys the ball and let them do what they can. As a senior, Pickett threw for 1,395 yards and 9 touchdowns, while also rushing for 472 yards and 11 touchdowns. He finished his career with 4,670 yards and 43 touchdowns, while also rushing for 873 yards and 17 touchdowns on the ground. He still ranks 8th all-time among the Shore Conference quarterbacks and was named to the All-Shore team while at Ocean Township. Coming out of high school, according to 24/7 Sports Composite, Kenny Pickett was a 3-star recruit who was the 21st best player in New Jersey, 33rd best pro-style quarterback, and 738th best player nationally. He received over 11 different Division I offers from the likes of Boston College, Iowa, North Carolina, and Pittsburgh. Originally, Kenny committed to Temple, but would decommit after receiving interest from UNC, Boston College, Purdue, Pitt, Iowa, Ole Miss, Missouri, Vanderbilt, and Texas A&M. He spoke on the decommitment, saying, I didn't think it was right to be communicating with other coaches and visiting schools while being committed to Temple, and I needed to see all of my options. Despite decommitting from the Owls, he still had interest in Temple, saying, the Temple chapter isn't closed. They took it as well as expected. It was definitely tough, but I want to be honest throughout the process. We didn't get into that discussion of how, but my recruiter, Mike Saravo, said they were still going to recruit me. Pickett had taken a visit to Pitt the weekend before his decommitment and had visits scheduled for Boston College. Although he was right in their backyard, from what I could find, Rutgers would never extend an offer to Pickett, although they showed strong interest. When he originally had committed to Temple, he only had offers from UConn, Buffalo, Toledo, Texas State, and Monmouth. Pickett spoke on his skill set to NJ.com saying, "I feel my skill set fits both pro style and spread. What's most important, I am looking for the right fit academically and personally." A few weeks later, after his second visit to Pittsburgh, Pickett would commit to the Panthers. As he went into his senior year, he spoke about not needing to worry about the recruiting process anymore, telling the Asbury Park Press, "It definitely takes some pressure off. The recruiting process is very stressful, and once that's off your shoulders, you can kind of relax and just play football." Originally, Pickett was expected to add depth for a period of time, standing at 6'3" and weighing 190 pounds with a 4.77 40 time, but then he would start against number 2 Miami in a season-ending 24-14 upset, throwing for 193 yards and 1 touchdown, while also rushing for 2 touchdowns on the ground. As a sophomore, Pickett played in 14 games, throwing for 1,969 yards, 12 touchdowns and 6 interceptions, while also rushing for 220 yards and 3 touchdowns on the ground. He would take a jump his senior season, throwing for 3,098 yards, 13 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. Going to the 2020 season, people were talking about how Pickett could be one of the top quarterbacks for the 2021 NFL Draft. He would finish the year throwing for 2,408 yards, 13 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. Pickett suffered an ankle injury during week 5 of the season against Boston College and needed to get tightrope surgery, returning 26 days later from the injury. In a normal year, Pickett would have entered the NFL Draft with no more eligibility left, but due to the events of 2020, eligibility was frozen. Pickett had a choice of whether he wanted to return for one more year. Back in December, Pickett was looking for cold hard facts when it came to his NFL stock. He told ESPN, "That was a pretty big life decision I had to make last year and put a lot of things in perspective for me. It helped me mature because I knew that I needed to listen to the people who were going to tell me the truth based on real research and not listen to people who was going to tell me what they thought I wanted to hear." He consulted with Peyton Manning, who had gotten to know Pickett through the Manning Passing Academy, who told him he was hearing Pickett had a 5th round grade. He knew right then he was going to return. Pickett said, "It was a quick answer for me. No, I knew right then I was coming back. I have a lot of confidence in what I can do, and that's not where I saw myself. I wanted to come back and give it one more shot, prove where I belong, and prove that we were capable of having a special season at Pitt." Pitt offensive coordinator and quarterback coach Mark Whippley reached out to Alabama offensive coordinator Bill O'Brien for advice. Whippley told ESPN, "He just told me that Kenny would get so much better with another year, and that's exactly what he's done. He's taken so well to coaching and does things on his own. You don't have to tell him, and the other players see that. So many of the general managers and scouts I have mentioned, Mac Jones and Joe Burrow, and how much their stock rose with another season of college football. The risk has paid off for Pickett as he has exploded, throwing for 3,857 yards, 36 touchdowns, and only 6 interceptions so far this season. He is viewed as one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the 2022 NFL Draft and will leave Pitt with a handful of records. While some players may have rushed the decision, Pickett wanted to finish the process. But what do you think? Where do you think Kenny Pickett will be drafted in the 2022 NFL Draft? Let me know in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out my other videos right here. Don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe to the channel, and as always, remember to embrace the grind.